Have you ever had a weird interaction with an ATC controller in Bravo? Well, recently I did, so I'm going to talk about that coming right up. Hey folks, I'm Russ Clark. I'm with My CFI Academy, and this is the My CFI Academy YouTube channel. So just last week I had a student, a commercial student, and we were flying from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, back down to Martin State, which is just north of Baltimore. We were at 7,500 feet. We had a tailwind. We were doing about 150 knots across the ground. It was a nighttime flight. We determined that the safest thing to do would be hold our altitude until absolutely the last minute, and we'll ask for a Class Bravo clearance to get us down through the Bravo at a nice descent rate down into Martin State Airport. So I had my student, Chris, make the call and ask for a Class Bravo. He dials up Potomac Approach and says, 471 Mike Romeo request, and this is how the rest of it went.
Say request.
I would like a Class Bravo clearance.
Landing Martin.
Affirmative, yes, Martin State.
Correct?
Yes.
I'm confused as to why you want a Bravo. You're only going to be, even if I gave you one, you'd only be in it for like 3 miles.
We're at 7,500 feet. We're doing 150 knots across the ground. We'd like to be able to keep our altitude as long as possible. We're on a night flight, single engine airplane. We'd like to descend down to Martin State.
You won't need it, man. If it gets close, I'll give you one, like last second. I'm not going to hold you at full, so you're good.
Okay, what is wrong with that? I'm really curious what you guys think about that. So we asked for the Bravo for safety purposes. It was slow. All the traffic that was flowing in there was flowing from the west and the south, so we weren't a problem. We were coming from the north, and he's not going to give us a Bravo. But what does he say? He says,
if it gets close, I'll give you one, like last second. I'm not going to hold you at full, so you're good.
What does that say? What does that mean? We either get the clearance or we don't get the clearance. So we ended up having to slip quite rapidly to miss the Bravo so we could get down to the altitude we needed to get down into Martin. I didn't feel very safe. It was nighttime, it was dark, and that's just not cool. Was it bad planning on our part? I've never had Potomac say no. They might ask me to stand by. When they figure it out, they come back and say, okay, enter, blah, blah, blah. We were on flight following all the way from Williamsport. So we started with New York Center, we ended up with Harrisburg, and then finally over to Potomac. And we made the request about 14 or 15 miles from the edge of the Bravo. Very strange. Tell us in the bottom here in the comments if you've ever had that kind of experience, and what was your reaction? How did you feel about it? And tell us, tell me, what do you think? Did we handle it wrong? Should we have made the request further out? Should we just descend down and go over the hilly area in the dark night at 2,000 feet all the way to Martin? I am very curious what you guys think. Would love to hear what you think in the comments below. Please don't hesitate to share your thoughts. Did we do the right thing? Did we do the wrong thing? Would you have just gone VFR down low to the ground, or would you have personally requested the Bravo? It's a very interesting situation. But let me share with you what I actually did the next day. I made a phone call to Potomac. I told him the situation. I shared the scenario with him. When I reached the point where I told him that the controller said he wouldn't hold us at fault, the person on the other end of the line said, wait a minute, hold on. He said, what? And I told him what he said, and he was just aghast. He was like, no, that's totally wrong. What we're going to do, he said, is I'm going to go pull the radar. I'm going to pull the recording. We're going to listen to it, and we're going to go ahead and get back to you. Can we reach you tomorrow or the next day at this phone number? And I said, absolutely. Feel free to call anytime. 2 days later, I got a phone call back. The phone call that I received was from an upper echelon supervisor. That person said, we have listened to the recordings. We have looked at the radar, and this controller was absolutely wrong. He never should have treated you that way. It was unprofessional. There's no reason that he shouldn't have given you a Bravo. You absolutely had every right to ask, and it was the safe thing to do. Then he said, by the way, the next time that you get in that scenario, he said, please don't do 2,000 feet per minute to get down, because we were in a slip. He said, I don't want anybody to jeopardize safety. He then asked me what would you like to see happen with this particular controller? I told him I don't want to see anything happen to him other than maybe some retraining and have a conversation with him. There's no need to fire anybody. We're all on the same team. I mentioned to him that I'm an instructor. I'm also on the FAA safety team here in Baltimore, and I just found it was odd, and I felt it was something that needed to be addressed. And he said, absolutely. They had escalated it up to Atlanta, or down to Atlanta in this case, and they would be waiting for feedback from them, and he would mention to them what my feelings were about the situation. It's all very, very interesting, right? Fast forward to today. So today's May 10th. This happened almost 2 weeks ago. Today's May 10th. I get a phone call this morning from the Baltimore FSDO. The FAA person at the FSDO said, hey, this came across my desk and I've reviewed it. It looks like the situation has been taken care of, and I want your feedback to find out if you are happy with the results, et cetera, et cetera. I was actually very confused at the beginning. I didn't realize this would go to the FSDO, and he said, absolutely, we're the FAA and everything comes across our desk. He mentioned to me that particular controller had been reprimanded, was going through remedial training to get his attitude adjusted, and when the FSDO guy found out that it was actually a dual given situation, he was actually more upset. He said that was horrible. It's a bad example of who ATC is in front of a student. And all along, I have told the Potomac Tracon guys, the FAA guys, that we're all a team. 99.9% of the time, it's a fantastic experience. They're so professional, and they really truly are. You know, we all make mistakes. We all have good days, good nights, bad nights. I mean, this controller obviously was not having a good evening, and I was some small plane that was putzing along in his airspace, and he didn't want to deal with me. But that's been addressed. It's been taken care of, and I found it to be very interesting, and I hope you found this to be an interesting thing as well. The best part of that for me was the FAA FSDO guy said, hey, you've got my name, you got my number. If there are any questions you have or any information you're looking for, or just want to give us a call, call me anytime. It's very, very helpful. And I was pretty surprised and actually quite delighted with that. Anyway, I'm Russ Clark, My CFI Academy. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below, and please like the video if you enjoyed or got value out of this. I'm going to continue to try and bring really great content to the channel to hopefully help you learn along with what we're learning, and make you guys better flight instructors and better pilots. Thanks again. Take care.